calls it the way back. It's a time machine. Now that we've seen it, maybe we should go back. Nope.
Sherman, Penny, why are you two dressed like ancient Greeks?
I lost her in ancient Egypt.
And I got engaged to King Tut. Then we ran out of gas.
In ancient Troy.
You used the way back!
Yeah. She was into it.
Hey guys, Lucas here again for another movie review. Today we're talking about the new animated film from Dreamworks, Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Mr. Peabody and Sherman is based off the segment from the old Rocky and Bullwinkle show, which I, of course, was too young to watch because it came out like 40 years ago. So I didn't really know about this property and that it was based on something else. And seeing the trailers, I was like, it doesn't look that great, especially after seeing something like the Lego movie last month that was all this just creativity and just new things to put in an animated movie. This just seemed kind of bland. Ty Burrell voices Mr. Peabody in the movie, and he does a great job because, one, I never thought I was listening to Ty Burrell this whole movie, which is one of the biggest compliments I can give a voice actor, is that I'm not aware who is doing the voice, or if I do, they do such a good job that I think that they're this other character, and he does that well. Also, I don't know who voiced Sherman. I think the actor's name is Max something. I forgot his last name. He was very good too. He is an unknown actor, so of course I didn't know who he was, but I thought he did all the voice acting and conveyed all of Sherman's emotions through his voice very well. The relationship between Mr. Peabody and Sherman is kind of what made this movie as surprisingly good as it was. I did not expect the movie to be as solid as it was, especially considering the promotional stuff for it. One of the keys that makes this film surprising and what makes it work is that they do put a lot of attention and a lot of focus, especially in the first act of this movie, on the relationship between Peabody and Sherman, because Peabody has adopted Sherman, and they do a good job explaining comically how Mr. Peabody was able to adopt him through the court of law and stuff like that. But there was a lot of good, just emotional stuff that I thought really made you care about the characters and what they would do. If you didn't know, Mr. Peabody and Sherman is about time travel, where they go back to all these different periods and they mess up the whole space-time continuum. And another thing which I think is good for kids to see is this movie, because they are a lot of historical stuff here, and they're not just all sight gags. They actually, I even learned some stuff in this movie, and maybe that's just because I'm an imbecile, but I did learn some historical stuff in this movie, and there's some clever jokes about stuff that misconceptions of history, such as George Washington cutting down the tree and the whole let them eat cake bit. There's a lot of clever stuff in here like that, and they don't really rely on a lot of the pop culture stuff. And then there's the occasional little fart gag or something for the kids, but they're funny and they're not just forced. They put some creativity into the jokes. That being said, they do throw in some good adult humor here. A few that will go over the kids' heads, mainly because they're historical, but then they also squeeze in a few kind of dirty jokes in here very cleverly. So I thought that what this film did very well, which most animated films should try to do, is balance the kid humor with the adult humor so neither party is bored. I think the film is only like an hour and a half or an hour and 35 minutes, and it pretty much has a lightning pace from the minute it starts, so no one's going to be bored in this movie. There's always a sight gag or usually an action scene, and the movie flies by very fast. It's a very quick movie. There are a few jokes that kind of fall flat, even though I thought most of them hit pretty well. There's this one running gag involving Sherman not understanding a lot of Mr. Peabody's jokes that was just never was funny, and that's to be expected. In a lot of these kids' movies, not all the jokes land. And the film, despite having really good setups and really good character dynamics, it does become pretty predictable throughout, and especially in the third act, where I felt the film was taking a few storytelling risks or a little bit of deviations in the first two halves, and then the third act is kind of predictable, where all the characters from the past kind of come to the future. So that was a little bit disappointing to see, and maybe because we just saw something like the Lego movie, which kind of just took the whole animated genre and just spun it on its head. Maybe that's why, but it was just not as memorable as something like that. This movie was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It was very entertaining, and the film is pretty funny, and what I'm really happy about is that it had a lot of heart and focused on the relationship between Mr. Peabody and Sherman to make us care, for the fans that are not, familiar with the source material. So overall, it's not a fantastic animated film. I don't think it's anything you're going to remember in the next week, but considering it's March and this didn't look very good, it's much better than I thought it was going to be. And I'm going to give Mr. Peabody and Sherman 3.5 stars out of 5. So let me know what you thought of Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Were you a fan of the segment when it was on the Rocky and Bullwinkle show? Are you going to be seeing this now? Where does this rank for you in terms of Lego Movie and the other stuff that's come out this year? Let me know. Subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.
I take orders from no man.
Take it easy, bro. Dreamworks, Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Why can't children be simple?
Children are not the machines, Peabody. I tried to build one. It was creepy.